What's up, guys? It's Chris. Welcome to VHP Engines. So, like I said the other day on a little Facebook update of mine, it's amazing how fast shit can change. Now, I didn't go back and check and see how many people actually watched that video, and I know that the channel is always growing all the time. So, for a general update for new subscribers and everything, I figured I'd talk about on current circumstances and what exactly I'm doing between NIP and CSS build, the Integra, and my moving status. All right, so in my little update, I said, when I was talking about moving fast, like my son's going to be held back in first grade, and we were waiting for summertime to see about pulling him out of school and moving and doing the move then, so we had the 2-month gap. But then, of course, it turned around like, well, if he's going to be held back, then what's the care if he misses an extra month or two of school, or if he misses a month or two of school because he's going to be repeating the grade anyway. And so that frees up movement time. Now we're in February. Income taxes are in the process of being filed. I'm filing out of state. I've been filing with my guys from New Horizon Income Tax. Plug if you're in Florida or if you're in the Miami area, go see these guys. They're so fucking good on their work here that I've been out of state for a year and a half, and I still filed my last 2 income tax returns with them. All right. So anyway, they got my paperwork down there, and I'm just waiting to get back on the numbers. Regardless, even if we have a bad year, there's no way we're getting back less than $1,000. And about $1,000 is what I'm figuring it's going to take for us to be able to move. So also on the news on that front is we were kind of bouncing around back and forth, and we are kind of still, I'm reserving the fact that we don't have to leave as soon as we get income tax. We don't have to leave the first week of March. We could always sit back and chill and wait a little while if we need to. But there's 2 things that come into factor here. The reason why I might just pick up and go. One, my old boss, I talked to him when I realized that, hey, my son's getting held back. And he says he's going to talk to the maintenance manager, who also remembers me, and they're going to see about getting early approval on a position in my home shop. Now, I can go to any shop and writer that I want down there, and I'm not necessarily a stranger because I used to talk to them all the time, all the supervisors down there, as the fact that I was working in the office, so I coordinated with these people a lot. So I can get back in there pretty easy to any shop that has opening, but of course I prefer to go back to my home shop. Now, with that being said, the same situation kind of lies for with my wife. She would, she's got people down there that are calling up here for, interview appointments and all that stuff. And some of them she hasn't even known. And one of them is her old boss who's saying, like, as soon as you come back, as soon as you have a date, come back, let me know so I can adjust my schedule. So when it comes back to working down there, that's not a problem. That front's already squashed. And my old boss is supposed to get back to me, Thursday or Friday this week. I don't really expect it to because it's kind of last minute for the week. I don't expect the word back until next week. So Monday or Tuesday, if I haven't got a call back, I'm going to be making some calls to see if I got an update. If they tell me, yeah, we got approval for the early position or whatnot, then it's going to be like, when do you want me? And then we'll make plans from there. If not, then I've already agreed to let my wife wear the pants for a little while, and I'll just either transfer. Well, I could possibly let my wife wear the pants for a while. I could either, quit and then go down there until I can get into a shop, or I could, just transfer to a different location. The reason why transferring is such an important thing as opposed to quitting and rehiring, you got to go through the hire process all over again, which means I would have to start at the beginning of the month at a Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month. I'd have to go through the piss test and the physical and all that shit again, and I could potentially lose vacation pay, or I could have to wind up paying back on sick leave or whatever that I've taken already. So it's just a much easier process, a much more solid process if I transfer, because if I transfer, I'm like, hey, I'll be here at this date and time. I can move, and in the same week be working again in my old shop or whatever shop I go to. So that's why transferring is the ideal situation in this case. As far as my wife goes, my wife can, day one, she gets in town, she has a job. So in the worst case possible scenario, I don't get the chance to go back to my home shop and we decide that we're not going to stay here, we're just going to go, then that means I'm out of work for a couple of weeks while I'm waiting to get into a new spot. but my wife will be wearing the pants, making the money. But she's going to be making enough money where we've lived off of that kind of income before, and I know that we'll be straight, plus whatever income tax we have left over, because despite the fact that I'm a little worried we might have low numbers this year, I don't really think it's going to be less than $3,000. So even if it costs us $1,000 to move, we'll still have some money to play with, to fall back on. And I've already made situations to where we're going to go. I've already set up plans for that. Now to move to the next part of the subject here is the Integra. Okay, or we'll just go like this in order. We'll go talk about the block, the CSS block. One, I stalled on the CSS block. For you guys that don't know, I didn't really talk about it too much, or maybe I have, I just don't fucking remember. I got a staph infection on my fucking stomach, and it was enormous. It covered about that much area. The swelling was like that far off my stomach, and it was causing me intense pain. I missed work from it and all that shit. Eventually, it came to a head on Monday, and it popped, and it's been draining for the last couple of days. But the antibacterial medication and shit they got me on has got me like fucking Captain Jack Sparrow, this motherfucker. I'm a little woozy. So when I start thinking about going and putting rings in and sliding it in, being precise with gap measurement and cutting, it makes me a little nervous. I did one ring the other night, and I took my slow, sweet-ass time, and just to do one ring, it took me like 15 fucking minutes, being extra careful. And I don't want to do that right now. So I got a whole bunch more rings to gap still, and it's just not something I want to mess around with right now. And that block will be assembled before I leave. It most likely will be assembled this weekend, because my staph has gone from enormous to like maybe the size of an egg yolk, and it's like barely coming up off my stomach. And I'm feeling a lot better and all that stuff, and I can move around a lot more. It's just the medication that I have to continue to take until all signs of this shit is gone has got me a little messed up. So yeah, I'm gonna proceed with the engine build. I'm not gonna do a step-by-step tutorial for this for this build, but I am gonna film some stuff around it and talk about it. And I'm gonna kind of shoot it like I did old school style, like I did back when I was in Miami in my first engine building tutorial videos. Except for it's gonna be much higher quality because the camera's better. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I will have the long block assembled. I decided I'm not going to take the head to the machine shop because I have already measured it out. The deck clearances are great. The head is clean. So the only thing that I would, kind of like double tap on would be like the seals, changing the valve stem seals. But I'm not gonna bother with it this time around, simply because time is against me again. Now, when it comes to updates about the Integra, last time I left, I moved like this. It was also quick, fast, and in a hurry, and I threw the engine in the car because I figured it'd be easier to transport in the car than it would be to take up space in the moving truck. But now I'm thinking, how much space is it really going to take in the engine? Because I made mention when I pulled the Integra into the shop that it was going to be fucking next to impossible for me to pull it out, because of how low that car sits. And I think even dragging it and pushing it out with the thaw and the grass being as soaked as it is, it's going to be a scary problem. And on top of that, too, I started having little flashbacks of the night that I loaded that car into the dolly. Okay, so to take off the car, to take the Integra off my dolly, I couldn't roll it off. It was too fucking low. It kept catching on shit. So what I had to do was I had to pull the e-brake on the Integra and then drive the truck forward, so that way the Integra would just come off the dolly like that. And it was hitting the bottom of the engine. It was it hit the exhaust, not the bottom of the engine, but it did hit the exhaust. It was catching on the bumper, and I started remembering the night that we loaded the Integra. We tried to push it on the dolly, but it was so fucking low that the bumper was catching and dragging, and flaring out the sides. And I don't want to trash that front end. So what I'm gonna do is so what we had that night, Blake lifted my car with his tow truck and placed it onto the dolly. So because I don't think those are adjustable coilovers. I have to go back and actually look, and I will be when I finish the ABS shit. So I'll take a look at it. And if the coilovers are adjustable, then maybe I can rethink this. But right now, I'm thinking that they're not. They're not adjustable. And if they aren't, if I am right about that, and they're not adjustable, then I'm kind of fucked if I slam that car. So I'm thinking about doing, it might be my best case scenario to do here, is to leave it as a shell and leave the front bumper off until maybe I load it. I'll load the car on there and put the front bumper just so I don't have that extra drag from having a bumperless car on a dolly. But yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it as a shell, only bolt in the bumper after it's on placed in the dolly. Yeah, and then just drag it back as a shell like that. Plus, you know, I'm going to have to park it at a friend's house or whatnot. And at least if it's a shell, if somebody tries to steal it or whatnot, you're not really getting anything. So it's less threat value than if I have it sitting with a fucking fully built engine again, or a built engine again. And I have learned my lesson, so I will be installing an alarm on all my personal cars from now on. So yeah, I'll be doing that. So until I get the car running and then all that shit, then I think it's better that I just don't. And because of the fact that I'm not going to be living in my own place, and because I'm not going to have a shop to work at for a while, the project for the Integra is just going to be on hold for a minute again. Yeah, I know, this car's like a curse for me. I've never owned a car this long that's never driven, but I'm tenacious on it. I am not giving up on this Integra. This Integra I've had for, I think, almost 2 years, if not 2 years, and I've never driven the car. But I absolutely will not let it go. Won't do it. Not going to happen. So the good thing is when it comes to me finishing the long block, it will be fully functioning. It will be fully ready to go. Last time when I bolted that engine together and threw it in the car, I knew it wasn't done, and I was, you know, I knew there was things like the timing and all that bullshit. I was going to have to go back and adjust. Not this time. I'm going to have it ready to go. It's everything's going to be, you know, RTV is going to be set in place. Fucking timing's going to be set, and you know the crank pulley is really going to be on there. It's going to be ready to. The engine long block is going to be in drivable ready standards position. So once I get back down to Florida, I'll have the huge market to use parts again. So a starter I'll get in no time. An engine harness I'll get in no time. And this time, when I go to put the swap in, the harness will already be on the fucking engine. It'll just be folded over, ready to go in place. So when I go to, a distributor also probably get in no time if I don't just go ahead and buy a new one on that. I might still buy a new one on that, but then buy the used for the starter and the harness. But anyway, the most important shit is when I get there and when I do finally say, hey, I have enough space where I can finish the swap, I'll just be able to drop the ready to run engine in there and plug it in and just turn it over. And I won't have to worry about, oh, I need a starter. Oh, I need a battery. Oh, I need a distributor. Oh, I need a harness. It'll already be ready to go. So if I go back down there in March, I don't think it's going to take me longer than a month to get a place. And I think the month I'm going to need is just going to be establishing, you know, a living history in the area. And then once I've done that, once me and my wife have like 4 paychecks between us, we can take those stubs and go get a place. And so if I get there, let's say I get there the first week of March, let's say April we have our own place. If I have my own place in April, I'm still going to probably buy the parts I need for the car. So that way when it comes time for me to move into my own place, wherever that's at, by May the car will be for sure running. And probably 100% turboed and everything, because the turbo setup isn't really going to take that much time. Okay, so that's the update on moving status, the Integra, and the build progress. All right, so the last thing I want to do too here, and I guess it's probably gonna be something I put in the title here, is that I'm just a shout out to everybody who watches me that lives in Florida. If you don't already have me as a friend on Facebook or whatever, feel free to add me. Just send me a message, hey, I live in Florida or whatever. This is where I live in Florida. If you're a viewer of mine, you live in Florida, I want to talk to you. I want you to be on my friends list. Why? Because I want you to be able to track me as I'm going. As I'm heading back to Florida, I want you to be able to see I'm heading back to Florida. When I get back to Florida, I want you to DM me, hey, you know, all this shit. And then I'm gonna start making plans to do what I said in my going back to Florida team, my Florida team goals. And I have a little bit more ideas on that. When I was trying to talk about that on my live stream before, I just got frustrated and bounced out of it. So I figured I'd touch on it again in another video. I figured out my process of what I'm going to do to find my team members. I am going to do the 5 in Florida. I have 8 in the Miami area that I know on my friends list that I've picked out. And I just need 5 of those guys to agree. I'm willing to take more, but I just need 5 of them to be on board. And the thing is for me in the beginning is going to be testing commitment. I still want to use the IBOC meet in Orlando in April as a way to try and meet as much people as I can in Florida. But I'd like to start linking up with people ahead of time to get an idea of who all is just going to be around or whatnot. And I think what I'll do is my South Florida team would be the easier ones to root out, because I'm gonna have a meeting and see who all even fucking shows up. And if you can't even show up, then of course you're out of the equation. And that would be the same thing for the people I meet around the state too. In my team building goals, I said I wanted to have a team in every area. But I think what I'll do is the people I meet in different areas of Florida, that guy would be the guy that would get other guys and make his own team in that area, you know, that kind of like branches off. So I can extend that. Another thing that changes too is the whole selling on eBay, and the whole block selling idea and parts, refurbishing blocks, refurbishing heads to machine shop and selling them at much higher price than I normally would try to, because I have a much larger market and a little bit more money spent on the refresher. So I've decided that when I go back to Florida and I go back to Miami, I'm not going to be trying to sell engines, not for a good while at least. What I want to do is I want to definitely focus on building my stockpile, occasionally selling on eBay, maybe bare blocks that are freshened up, or rebuilt heads and stuff like that. So I'll bring my extra money through eBay and not really try to sell local. The reason why is I kind of want to stay low key on my return. I kind of want to build the team first. I want to build engines for the teammates and just have them go out to hangouts and go out to the racetrack and stuff like that. Get VHP engines, get people more used to seeing VHP engines around on faster cars, and then have that be the word of mouth to drive back. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to fall into the mistake of selling engines at the prices I used to sell at, and then more and more people come when they start to see more and more progress from the guys that are running my engines, and then, you know, getting pissed off when like, oh, now you're inflating prices and all that shit. So I kind of want to avoid that. So I want to kind of ease myself back into the market as the demand grows, if that makes any sense. But anyway, yeah, I would definitely like to meet as many people as I can in Florida, in different areas in Florida. Even if you're a whole bunch of guys watching me by chance in Miami or whatnot, you know, I want to, the bigger the crowd to pull from, the better, because, you know, you have more choices. Also, the more people that come, the more people will weed out. But you never know if you're one of those people that are going to stay, or you could know if you're dedicated enough to the situation. All right, so I really wanted this to be like a 15-minute video. I went over the time, and it's probably going to take the rest of the AM for it to upload. Yeah, so I'll tag this in with my other, or maybe not. This is a more definitive idea of what I'm going to do when I'm going back, and that's just because the last time I made a video on the topic, I didn't know when I was coming back home, and now I don't have an exact date, but I have a very close date. So yeah, expect that. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. If you managed to stick out this far, and I hope to hear from some of you guys that are living down there in Florida, because I want to be able to get back into the mess really quick. As early as the first weekend I'm back, I would like to be talking to people if I can. All right, guys, and peace. Thanks for watching.